As we wait for Code Vein and play Sekiro to quench that thirst, man, it's got me to think. Alright, let me not lie, this video was a great suggestion by a member of mine. If you don't know what members are, it's basically the equivalent of Twitch subs, but on YouTube. So one of those perks right now is that if you do join and you want to, you can suggest a video to me, we can talk it out, flesh it out, all that good stuff, and then the video will happen. So join. If you've kept up with my train of Code Vein videos, you will be educated, okay, and know why this delay has taken so long. But I guess at the same time, I have never really publicly or officially told you guys that the game is still a thing, right? Not canceled. So I'll do that today. I like that idea. This tweet from March 24th is essentially the first info we've gotten in Code Vein in 2019, bro. So I mean, it's literally just letting us know that the game isn't dead yet. And honestly, at this point, I'm expecting news within the next, whether it's the rest of this month, April or May. I think we're gonna get some information before the end of May. Cool. All right, we know the game's still alive. So what next? We know the title is heavily, inspired by the Souls series, they've told us. So, what makes a good Souls series or Soulsborne game? It's a good question. Because if you think about it, the biggest driver of Code Vein's hype has been the idea that it has this connection to the Soulsborne series. Sekiro is the newest addition that is From's take outside of the Soulsborne series, and Sekiro is essentially what Code Vein is, right? It's a new, different world / atmosphere, but it keeps that Soulsborne recipe. Games like Nioh are very good examples of Soulsborne. If you think about it, bro, honestly, Nioh was the first ninja or samurai Soulsborne before Sekiro. But I think it's safe to say Sekiro took that crown back. So let's think for a second at the topic at hand, okay? What makes a good Soulsborne game? I think we can agree on 3 points. Difficulty, the world building / the lore, whatever you want to call it, and then lastly, the combat. So let's go down the line and talk briefly about what each game offers. Dark Souls is in between, you know. Earlier Dark Souls reward you for your time and patience in execution, but also required some aggressive points. The few hours I've sunk into the series definitely had me getting faded simply because I was literally playing it like Bloodborne, you know. But instead, I just needed to calm down a lot and weigh out my options. Whereas I would say Bloodborne is more of like a moderate offensive type of game. Knowing when to correctly be aggressive will reward you. But at the same time, you have to know when to not be aggressive because that's probably going to get you killed if you step too far in. And the newest edition, Sekiro, I would say is kind of more so focused on aggressive offensive play. But at the same time, it's not that far off from Bloodborne in the sense of moderate aggression will reward you. I started out Sekiro by trying to play it like I played Bloodborne, and let me tell you that shit did not work. It did not work. I've been oh!
Two hours later. Six hours later.
Yes! I killed him! And I died! Yo! What's gonna...
2,000 years later.
It's over. The thing is with Sekiro, it added the most movement in any From Software game to date, and that's kind of what you have to take into consideration. So while it is similar to Bloodborne, right, the amount of movement that we have makes it so that dodging and sidestepping is not enough to evade attacks. You've got to leverage Wolf's other abilities. Deflecting and jumping are those two new movement abilities that really change and mix up the game a lot. Because get this, some attacks cannot be sidestepped. It takes up too much of a range. You cannot sidestep whether it's back or sideways to get out of it. So you have to either deflect or block it. But then we have moves that are unblockable, undodgeable, and honestly, pointless and useless and just too stressful to try to actually deflect them because they need perfect timing, meaning the only other option is to hop, you know, jump over them bitches. So it's like, as you're playing Sekiro, all of these options need to be in your mind if you want to win. And then we will soon be blessed with Code Vein. What's that got in store for us? Like I mentioned earlier, you know, Code Vein follows Nioh a bit, where it's Soulsborne but not connected to From Software. Based off the info we have, and I have gone over a lot of this combat, you know, details of how the gameplay is going to play. So I implore you to go watch that video right now. But based off of the information we have, Code Vein is kind of taking JRPG components and implementing that into the Soulsborne series. Genre, whatever you want to call it. While you do make builds in the Soulsborne series games, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, not so much Sekiro, you know, those are based off of your skill points. You allocate those to certain skills, you can use new weapons, and then based off of your skills, those weapons scale better. Whereas in Code Vein, we'll be creating these builds from blood codes, okay? These blood codes are kind of like themed, whether it's gonna be like ranged based, melee based, stuff like that, and they're gonna house gifts. Okay, another mechanic in Code Vein. Those gifts are like some special attacks, or they can be passive buffs as well. And again, they follow those themes, so you can kind of pick your playstyle and figure out how you want to play from there. So man, if you noticed, for Dark Souls and Bloodborne, I barely said anything, whereas Sekiro and Code Vein, I had some shit to say. And the reason for that is because Sekiro and Code Vein are really stepping out of that Soulsborne bubble, like I mentioned, right? And that is very good because Sekiro did such a good job at that, and it's only putting that much more pressure on Code Vein. Listen, all the comments I've been getting, people are like, yo, Sekiro is quenching my thirst, so that they're all like hyped up from Sekiro. So when Code Vein comes, boy, that shit better be able to quench. So before we dive deeper into Code Vein a little bit, I want to know, what are y'all favorite features, functions, whatever, from the Souls games, right? And then from there, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Sekiro, which one is your favorite? I gotta know. I'll go first. I think the difficulty mixed with that good gameplay and that good weapon variety is just unmatched in Bloodborne. Unmatched. Dark Souls, obviously, you know, it has the same type of gameplay, but bro, that atmosphere, bro, is so unappealing to me. And yo, shout out to Bloodborne's lore, bro. I have never played a game with no damn story, and I have never actively searched for that story on my own time, bro. Like, that shit is crazy. When I think about it, I'm like, shit, the lore is so good. And man, what I really like about it is how they like kind of like sprinkled it, right? They gave you some characters, and throughout it, I'm actively like, yo, what happens to my nigga? I see him later in the game, I'm like, wait a second, how'd you get like that? I think I'm onto something. L-O-R-E. You know, I actually think the lore might be the second highest reason people love and fell in love with the Soulsborne series, right? Get this, I think it's like the difficulty plus the gameplay is what first initially captured some fans. And then that lore is what kept them nibbers staying and hyped for every other new iteration. I think that's it. So let me ask y'all this, okay? How would you feel about a Soulsborne game reversed? I ask, okay, because that is what I'm expecting Code Vein to be. This is something I've said in multiple of my early on Code Vein videos. I've been covering this game from the very start of when it got announced, teased more so. I haven't said it in the past few videos though, so let me reiterate for the new subs that have come in. Bless y'all. If you know of this series God Eater, then you know of its downfall. And its downfall is that it's a Monster Hunter type game But the devs, directors, I don't know who the freak is in charge of this shit, has way too much to say, bruh. Got way too much to tell me. I'm trying to say, like, yo, they got too much story. They just got story, right? And that's the same people making Code Vein. What I'm trying to say is there's probably going to be lore, okay? But that lore is not that important simply because throughout the gameplay, we're getting all the story. Just like a normal single player game, we're gonna be getting all the story. So that lore is just to dig deeper, or I mean, yeah, whatever. So I don't know, how do you guys feel about that? But again, I ask, what makes a good Soulsborne game? I need to know. Please help me in the comments section below. Shout out to Matt, the member, for this video idea. That's all I gotta say, guys. I will see you on the next video. Let me know about this angle. I'm not a fan of this angle, but let me know what you guys think about it. I decided to try it. I was like, I'll just give it a try. Alright, peace. Lamp with the tape, I'm a legend in the room. JAMSQUAD chillin', now my homies bringing boom. Don't try to play the game without asking about the rules. I keep my cards safe, nigga, what you do? Pop it off easy, I'm not trying to snap your neck.